Who's on? So what is going on here? Sir? What is you don't have a driver's license, right? It said that your driver's license in PA is suspended. What peace officer are you?
What do you mean?
Like you're a law enforcement officer?
They're a tribal marshal.
Tribal marshals, which is what?
They're marshals for our nation, for the Cherokee Nation, Tsalagi, the marshals for any nation that call upon it.
It says Tribal Marshal, Rhode Island, Tribal Police. Something Nation.
Hey sir, how you doing?
That's good.
My name's Brown with the Sheriff's Office. The reason why I'm stopping is your tag is not. What state is that? Rhode Island? Okay. Okay, and you also have a whack headlight out as well, okay? Yes, sir. If it's your right side, it should blink pretty fastly. Does it malfunction sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay, is it your vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, you got a driver's license.
Well, passport and diplomat.
Okay, you take it off, too? What state is this?
Just the whole thing.
You're Indians?
Yeah.
So, right up there. Okay, is this your government name? And your date of birth? And the same thing with you? Yeah, well. So it's not under any states? Yeah. The whole country? Okay. So are you law enforcement?
They're law enforcement. They're not.
Marshals? Okay. Marshals for what?
Tribal mode. We're Indian tribal.
Okay. So what is this? Okay. Sorry?
That's it.
Yeah, from Brian Kemp. What is it saying, this? Yeah, as a nation. Okay. What's your middle name? You don't have a middle name? So your middle name is not Alexian? You never had a driver's license in Patterson, PA? Never had one? I can't hear you.
That's my diplomat about it.
Yeah, but do you have a driver's license that's within the states, any 50 states, 51 states, that say that you are permitted to drive or operate a motor vehicle on any public highways? Okay.
Nation.
What is your nation?
We're Tsalagi, Cherokee.
Okay. But even as Indians, you're still permitted by the laws of the state, right? You can't go out and commit murder and expect, because, I'm sorry?
We're registered in every state.
Okay.
So we're tribal marshal.
Okay. Which is classifies y'all as what? Peace officers?
Yes, we're.
Okay, and what official duties are y'all doing now?
We work on a case.
What kind of case?
We work on a case, so we can, I can ask you what your work says to work.
Here with Officer
L. Brown. He has a couple questions.
Now, I don't have no questions for him. Like, I just need y'all to identify yourself because both of y'all have. This is not a driver's license, or this is a form of identification, but it's not a driver's license. You're operating a vehicle within the states of Georgia, right? You need a actual driver's license which permits you in any state to drive or operate this vehicle. Okay?
It's said on ID.
But it's not a driver's license at all. Registered in any state.
Can you speak? Can you speak? Go ahead.
Hey, sir, I'm gonna need you to come back in my car, okay? I need you to exit the vehicle and come back in my car. I need you to stay within your time of vehicle. Driver, I need you to exit the vehicle.
Everybody, driver's like, everybody like.
Driver, exit the vehicle, please.
Sir, step out of the car, please.
So what is going on here, sir? What is you don't have a driver's license, right? It said that your driver's license in PA is suspended.
I never had a license.
Yes, you do.
I have my license for relation. That's all license.
Okay, so you don't have an actual driver's license in the states.
All states is all the 50 states, and it's as I read on there putting that about me.
Okay, so what peace officer are you?
What do you mean?
Like you're a law enforcement officer?
They're a tribal marshal.
Tribal marshals, which is what?
They're marshals for our nation, for the Cherokee Nation, Tsalagi, or marshals for any nation that call upon us. And just like the U.S. Marshals, if you're called upon the United States, that's what we do.
To do what?
Whether it's pick up a fugitive or take it arrest.
So are y'all bail bondsmen?
Yeah. We're tribal marshal.
Tribal marshal. Which is law enforcement.
This is the other person.
Okay. And this, what's your name?
Yeah. That's the two best guys.
What state are y'all out of? Like, where's their headquarters? Rhode Island. Let me in Rhode Island. Where y'all coming?
It's Rose, Sweet Bill says
Where y'all coming from? Rhode Island. Where's your destination?
down here in Georgia.
Down in Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. What, you passed Atlanta already? You passed Atlanta already?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, like
you know about GPS? Yeah.
Okay. What's the exact location? Do you know the city?
It's in the GPS.
You know the city? Never been arrested. So if you're ex-military, you're required to have a driver's license.
There's everything that I gave you.
What he's presenting is that he submitted something to the governor. Here's what we are. He submitted something to the governor, right? So that the governor can accept y'all as a nation, or if a tribe, as for y'all to do your own thing. The governor has not signed out paperwork putting that in effect.
Yeah, that's a paper that he has in the phone. Have you checked it? It's been submitted since 2015.
But has it been signed?
Want to get out, and everything that happened is being rolled out.
So you have a concealed carry permit in Rhode Island. You have a concealed carry permit in Rhode Island. All right, ask that one. Hey, do you know 2318 Collins Road?
18 Collins Road.
2318 Collins Road.
Can't really disclose that information because we're on duty.
You're on what?
We're on duty.
Okay. In official capacity as law enforcement officers.
Okay. Throughout the nation.
Okay.
The Indian nations. There's probably about a good 67 tribes that we give our services. Okay, we are Tsalagi Indians. It was being marshals. It's for the whole nation, but it's throughout the whole.
Is this vehicle registered in any state?
In Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island. So why does it not have a Rhode Island tag?
Isn't it?
A Rhode Island license plate.
It is. Okay. Tsalagi is the original name for Cherokee before it was Americanized and translated to CHER.
Here's the thing. Other peace officers come in contact with other peace officers who are doing an investigation. The peace officer who is doing the investigation would commonly extend the courtesy of like, hey, this is what we're working on. Cool, fun. You know what I'm saying? Because this that peace officer did. Alright? Hang tight for me. Okay. Yeah. Hey bud, so did you turn around for me, please? Turn around. Change my nut. A double pump. Do you want the passengers on pay? You have time for yourself? Alright, bud. Step out. Face me. Face me. Keep your hands visible at all times. Step out. Keep your hands visible at all times. Leave the phone. Leave the phone alone. Step out. The instructions were to step out. Face me. Turn around. Put your hands on the floor. Good day about that. You're under arrest for impersonating police officer.
You came under arrest for impersonating a police officer.
You got anything on you?
No.
Yeah,
My magazine's in my pocket.
that's perfect.
That is, you want some evidence bags?
I'll take a crack at evidence there.
The traffic stop was Chapter 1. What followed was 4 years of court filings, sovereign paperwork, and a story the Bodycam could never tell. February 8, 2022, a Coweta County grand jury returned an indictment against Sovereign Patterson and Sovereign Hanner. Both men were charged with impersonating a public officer and driving while license suspended. And if you thought the claims stopped after the traffic stop, you're about to find out they were just getting started. Patterson's first response came less than 2 months after the indictment. Rather than preparing a legal defense, he filed an answer to indictment, identifying himself as the beneficiary, denying every allegation and demanding the case be dismissed with prejudice. Apparently, if you type beneficiary enough times, the felony charges are supposed to just become somebody else's problem. Spoiler, that's not how that works. Patterson's next filing was an affidavit of truth, because apparently simply calling something an affidavit of truth is supposed to settle the matter. In it, he declared himself an indigenous aboriginal and a consumer natural person, claiming he wasn't subject to government-created entities, and argued there could be no prosecution because there was no identified victim. Now, where have we heard that before? But crimes don't suddenly disappear just because they're offenses against the public rather than against a single individual. And despite the title, courts don't decide cases based on whoever puts the word truth in the biggest letters. And Patterson wasn't finished. His next filing was titled Objection and Demand for Evidence of Injury in Fact, where he repeated the familiar phrase, notice to agent is notice to principal is notice to agent. Somewhere along the lines, the guidance counselor, I'm sure, is also included. Then he demanded the state produce what he called evidence of injury in fact within 14 days, and declared that if they didn't, the entire criminal case would be automatically dismissed with prejudice. It's always fascinating when somebody simply just writes their own deadlines and writes their own consequences for missing them. Unfortunately for Patterson, Georgia courts operate under Georgia law, not whatever they downloaded the night before. And by this point, Patterson and Hanner had apparently decided one filing wasn't enough. They submitted a joint answer of indictment, once again denying the charges and demanding proof of an injured party. Of course, they included the line, notice to agent is notice to principal is notice to agent. Somewhere along the way, they have apparently concluded that everyone who works for the government, except for the principal, is an agent. I don't know where the vice principal fits into all this, but I'm sure there's an affidavit for that too. And if you thought we were done with affidavits, think again. Patterson filed another affidavit of truth, this one granting power of attorney in fact to a man named Charles Douglas Jackson. And according to the document, Jackson was authorized to manage Patterson's taxes, banking, investments, real estate, insurance, legal affairs, just about everything else short of deciding what to have for breakfast. Apparently, when you're busy being an internet tribal law enforcement officer, somebody has to handle the paperwork. By April, Patterson wasn't just challenging the court anymore, he was trying to stop it. In this filing, he demanded the court stay all proceedings, claiming his tribal counsel and tribal attorney general were conducting their own investigation. He also claimed that Governor Brian Kemp, Georgia Attorney General Christopher Carr, Public Safety Director Mark McDonough, and his own tribal attorney general were all actively involved in that investigation. Unfortunately, criminal cases don't stop because the defendant announces he's investigating the investigators. Not content with simply saying he wasn't impersonating an officer, Patterson decided the court now had homework. He demanded prosecutors prove his badge, uniform, vehicle, and tag looked like a real law enforcement officer's, and then declared that if they didn't answer every point, his affidavit automatically became the truth. Apparently, that's how evidence works now. More than a year later, Patterson acknowledged receiving a court notice scheduling another hearing. In the letter, he told the court that he was currently working out of the country but would return to Georgia for the court-ordered hearing. He also stated that the assistant district attorney was meeting with their chief tribal attorney general about the case. Apparently, that was news to everybody. And by September, Patterson was right back where sovereign citizens usually end up, challenging the court's jurisdiction. This time, he informed the Coweta County Superior Court that it really wasn't a court, and questioned whether it had any authority over him, and backed it up with pages of statutes and case law, because nothing says I know the law quite like telling a judge they're not actually a judge. By December, Patterson was still filing paperwork. This one was titled Notice, Not a Motion. Apparently, we're now filing documents by first explaining what they aren't. Because if you're already several dozen filings deep, what's one more? Then reality showed up in the mail. Patterson filed a response from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services after submitting a FOIA request. USCIS searched its records and came back with exactly nothing. Turns out, even the federal government couldn't find what Patterson was looking for. Nearly 3 years after the traffic stop, Patterson was still filing motions. This time, he asked the court to remove the case from what he called the dead docket status, arguing that it had been sitting there too long and should be either dismissed or restored. At this point, I was just impressed that he didn't run out of paper. As of this recording, Patterson isn't sitting in a Georgia jail. He's out of custody after bonding out of an Allegheny County jail in Pennsylvania on a different case. But the question now isn't whether Patterson is free, it's whether he'll make another appearance in Coweta County, or whether this chapter has finally come to an end. Either way, we'll be watching. While Patterson spent the next 4 years flooding the clerk's office with paperwork and motions that are not motions, Henner's case began exactly the same way. A Coweta County grand jury indicted both men on 2 charges, impersonating an officer and driving while license suspended. Didn't take long before Henner started filing paperwork of his own. And just like Patterson, Henderson's first response was in answer to the indictment. Count 1 denied, count 2 denied, and yes, they brought back the old favorite, notice to principal is notice to agent, notice to agent is notice to principal. I still don't know where the principal is, and apparently everybody works for him. Just like Patterson, there's more affidavits. Henner's next filing was an affidavit of truth. Just like Patterson, in it, he declared himself a consumer natural person, claiming he wasn't subject to any government entity, argued there could be no crime without a general named victim or stolen property, and rejected being treated as a state-created person. Apparently, that's a lot to fit into something called an affidavit, and he still wasn't finished filing documents. Apparently, denying the indictment still wasn't enough. Henner followed it up by demanding the state hand over all of its evidence within 14 days. And if they didn't, according to Henner, the case was automatically dismissed. It's always convenient when you get to write your own rules and decide whether you won. And Hanner wasn't just denying the charge, he was critiquing the wardrobe. He argued that his tribal marshal badge, uniform, vehicle, and tag looked nothing like a real police officer's, so there's no way anyone could mistake him for one. He also declared that unless every point was answered, his affidavit stood as the truth. Apparently, silence is now evidence. And just in case the court had forgotten, Hanner brought back the old standby. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. And thereon and therefore, and you know. This time, he announced that the Tsalagi Tribal Judicial Review Tribunal had completed its own investigation and demanded the court stay all proceedings. Apparently, the only investigation the court was interested in was its own case. And by October, Hanner had promoted himself again. This judicial notice identified him as the administrator of the Tsalagi Nation's trust, claimed that tribal marshals were acting in diplomatic and ministerial roles, accused the arresting officers of violating treaty law, and politely asked the court to forgive everyone and release the case and return any property that had been taken. Well, at least he said thank you. Not content with filing paperwork in court, Hanner started mailing it to state officials, too. This one identified the group as the Blood Nations, cited federal resolutions, declared Rhode Island to be Indian country, referred to America as the Turtle Island Republic, and informed Georgia's governor, attorney general, and public safety director that this filing somehow had authority over his criminal case. Well, that's certainly one way to skip the trial court. Problem was, the actual trial court wasn't skipping him. And by the end of 2022, Hanner had apparently decided the clerk wasn't just a clerk anymore. She was now the trustee of his Social Security Cestacay Trust. Allegedly required to perform ministerial acts, respond within 30 days, and somehow administer a trust that she'd never agreed to create in the first place. Apparently, the typed filings weren't getting the job done, so Hanner grabbed a pen. In this handwritten response, he acknowledged the receiving the court's offer by United States mail, repeated the familiar notice to agent as notice to principal, then declared that no one could administer his trust. That means the clerk is out, I guess. And just to make absolutely sure there were no misunderstandings, he added, "This includes any and every attorney." Apparently, writing it in cursive is supposed to be making it more legally binding. And more than a year later, Hanner sent the court another letter. This one is Dear Diary... wrong one. Here we go. Claiming that they were currently working out of the country, would return for the hearing, and claimed that the assistant district attorney was meeting with their chief tribal attorney general. He even included a phone number. Nothing says official government quite like an ending of your court filing saying, "Hey, call this guy." By September 2023, Hanner was right back to challenging the court's jurisdiction. This filing claims that simply objecting to the jurisdiction meant Superior Court no longer has authority to hear the case. He also argued the judge wasn't protected by judicial immunity and that the charges should be dismissed. The court disagreed, and the case moved forward anyway. Fast forward to January of 2025, Hanner was apprehended on an outstanding bench warrant. The state asked the court to remove the case from the dead docket and place it back on the active calendar. The judge granted the request, and after nearly 3 years of filings, notices, jurisdictional challenges, and whatever this is, the criminal case was finally moving forward again, and this time, it's going to end differently. Even after being brought back before the court, Hanner never abandoned the same legal theories. In this declaration, he again identified himself as the heir and beneficiary of a trust estate, insisted that he was appearing only by special appearance, and argued that the court had no jurisdiction or authority over him unless he consented. But those arguments have already failed for years, and the case was finally approaching its conclusion. After years of filings, missed court dates, bench warrants, and repeated challenges to the court's authority, Hanner's case came to an end. On April 1st, 2026, he entered a guilty plea to both charges under Georgia's First Offender Act, bringing the criminal case to a close without ever proving the arguments that he had spent years making. In the end, the courtroom, not the paperwork, had the final word. And the guilty plea didn't simply end the case, it came with conditions. Hanner was placed on probation and ordered to comply with the court's supervision requirements, including reporting to probation, completing any required community service, and following the special conditions set by the judge. After years of insisting that the court had no authority over him, he now faced the very probation terms imposed by that same court. As of this recording, Hanner is back where this story began, in custody. The Allegheny County jail records show he's currently incarcerated in Pennsylvania, bringing another chapter of this long-running case to a close. Hey, nowadays, anybody can jump online, buy cheap badges, cheap uniforms, cheap costume jewelry, and pretend to be something they're not. But if you're shopping online, why stop there?
The government's going out of business, and everything must go. Mount Rushmore, make us an offer. Statue of Liberty, half off, and we'll throw in the Liberty Bell absolutely free. The Smithsonian Institute, buy it piece by piece, or the whole thing. The government's going out of business, and everything must be sold.
And on that note, if today's episode reminded you of anything, it's that reading the court records tells a very different story than watching a 2-minute clip on social media. And if you appreciate fact-based content, please take a moment to like, subscribe, share the video, and leave a comment below. It really does help the channel, and I enjoy reading what you have to say. And to our channel members, thank you. Your continued support allows me to spend the time researching court records, reviewing public documents, and putting these episodes together. I truly appreciate every one of you. Wanishi. Whether your ancestors were African, Asian, German, Hispanic, Irish, English, actual First Nations, or anywhere else in the world, your heritage is something to learn about, preserve, and be proud of. Every culture has a history, every family has a story, and those stories deserve respect. But culture should never be used to invent a legal status or claim an identity that isn't yours. Honor your ancestors by learning the facts about where you come from, not by pretending to be somebody you're not. Because in the end, facts are always stronger than a fraud. Till next time, I'll see you soon.